meeting of the Parks Recreation. Oh, sorry, Michael. Thank you. Of the Parks Recreation Greenway Advisory Board to order. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you with all your holiday gear on. Our first item on the agenda is public comment.
Yeah, those that have joined in from the public, if you'd like to make a comment at this time, please use the raise hand function in Zoom, and I'll ask you to unmute yourself. So you can do that at this time. Does not look like there's anyone that has a comment.
Okay, very good. Well, then we will move on to the next item, which, Oscar, you have something that you're going to present.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. We have a special guest here that's going to actually recognize one of our special board members on a somewhat recent recognition that they received. So at this time, I would like to introduce Michelle Wells with the North Carolina Recreation and Park Association, who is going to honor one of our own. Michelle?
Hello, Oscar. Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a nice evening tonight. I am the director of the North Carolina Recreation and Park Association, and it is indeed an honor to be with you this evening at your meeting. I'm sure by now the person that I'm here to honor knows who it is, so I won't keep the rest of you in suspense. I'm here to honor Dr. Carol Love as the newest inductee into the North Carolina Recreation Hall of Fame. This award honors a retired professional who has a minimum of 25 years of service in the profession in the state of North Carolina and 25 years of NCRPA membership. Dr. Love has been a staunch supporter of Parks and Recreation all of her adult years. She was an active athlete and student at Shaw University and active in promoting equality and recreation services when she began work in the profession in the Raleigh and Wake County area. She has taught and mentored thousands, and I think that's probably an underestimate, of students and young adults in the Parks and Recreation field through her 25 years of teaching at NC State University. I'm proud to say I am one of those students, and I know there are many others who are current and former employees of the Raleigh Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Department who were fortunate to have her as a professor and mentor as well. Dr. Love, on behalf of all of us former students, allow me to say thank you and congratulations. She was actively involved in professional development and continuing education activities through NCRPA. She has served on both the Citizen Board Division and the Culturally Diverse Programs Division. She served 17 years on the Wake County Parks and Recreation Commission, where she completed 2 terms as chair. As you all know, she has been an active member of the Raleigh Parks, Recreation, and Greenway Advisory Board since 2016, and she has also been an active member on the John Chavis Memorial Park Celebration Committee since 2015. Most recently, she was instrumental in securing funds to renovate the John Chavis Memorial Park and Community Center, and what a wonderful and beautiful facility it is. She is a mother. Dr. Love, I think April may be with us tonight in the virtual audience.
Okay.
She is a former Girl Scout leader, mentor, and author, just to name a few. Her accomplishments are many. At NC State, she was named an outstanding teacher, an outstanding academic advisor, a Hewlett Fellow, a recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Management, and she is an African-American pioneer in North Carolina Parks and Recreation. She is a fervent believer in the power of recreation to keep the body and mind sound and healthy, and she practices this belief every day. We officially inducted Dr. Love into the NCRPA Hall of Fame at our conference in October. Today, I am honored to be with you to recognize her in front of her fellow advisory board members. Please join in me in congratulating Dr. Carol Love as the newest member of the NCRPA Hall of Fame.
Thank you. Wow, that's a surprise. Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome, Dr. Love. I had a few elves who helped me be able to be here tonight to be able to surprise you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Michelle, for coming.
Absolutely. And I'll just take the opportunity as a Raleigh resident to say thank you to all of you for what you provide, either as staff of the department or members of the advisory board, to make Parks and Recreation great here in our fair city. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you for all you do.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Michelle.
Congratulations, Dr. Love. Do you have anything to share with us? Words of wisdom?
No, 4 of my former students are here, so they can tell you some of the stuff that she didn't say that probably didn't make it. I am so proud of the young people who are doing so much in the city of Raleigh and in the association. When we had the banquet in Winston-Salem, it was a real surprise. I got to see lots of students from across the state. So thank you so much. I hope that I can continue to serve in a positive way.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Dr. Love, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks for that. That was a fun surprise. Well, next on the agenda, we have our report from the Raleigh Youth Council.
Yeah, hi. So I'm Cordelia. We recently had our 2 annual events, Toys from Teens and Santa's Workshops, and they were a huge success. We collected over 160 toys and we raffled out other gifts to the community. And between the 2 events, we were able to serve over 150 youth and 100 parents in the community. And I wanted to thank everyone who was involved in supporting these events. We're happy to see that we had some visitors stop by, including visitors from the North Pole, and the Chief of Police showed up to our Toys from Teens event. We also had our annual holiday celebration this past Monday, where we thanked our volunteers for their service over the fall semester, and we had a gift exchange as well. So Raleigh Youth Council collectively volunteered 287 hours over the fall semester, saving the city of Raleigh $8,190 worth of service, and our executive council will start planning events for the spring semester over this break, and we're looking forward to adding more community service events for the coming year.
Fantastic. Thank you for the report. And I'm glad to hear that the toy collection went well. Can you tell us a little bit more about the collection at Roberts Park and at Laurel Hills, I believe it was?
Yeah, so starting in, I think, in November, we had members from our council bring in toys, and we asked them to ask everyone they knew to donate supplies as well. And then at the Santa's Workshop event, which was at Laurel Hills Community Center, the participants were invited to donate toys there. And then at Roberts Park on the Wednesday before the Toys from Teens event, we as volunteers wrapped all of those donations. It was a lot of fun. There were so many gifts in all types of shapes. We had to wrap a skateboard. It was a lot of fun. And then at the actual Toys from Teens event, we gave out toys to the participants as they showed up. We had to sort it by age and type of toy to make sure that kids got stuff that they would want.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
That's
you
awesome.
so much. Quite an event.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing. Does anyone have any questions, Cordelia?
I have,
Christina, yeah, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. I just have a comment. First of all, I'd like to echo Dr. Love, and you guys are doing amazing work. So thank you for everything that you're doing. I'm not sure if you stay for the whole meeting. So I'm the chair of the Parks Board, or the Parks Committee. I'm sorry, not the Parks Board, the Parks Committee. And we are looking to do an event, a series of events in the next year. And I would love to have a conversation with you guys about how we can partner up, and if there's anything you guys can give us advice on what you guys are doing. I meant to email, and Carmen, I'm sorry, I waited too long and I procrastinated. So I would love to connect with you, though. I just wanted to throw that out there, that you'll be getting information from me about how we can work together next year.
Sure. And we're in our planning stages, so it's a great time to send us any information or any ideas that you have, so we can work together to
Perfect.
get those done.
Thank you guys so much for everything you do.
Great
Thank you.
idea, Christina. I'm glad you brought it up while she's still on here. Yeah. Very good. See no other hands up. We'll move on to the next presentation, which is by Emma Lyles of pre-development assessment plans for 2 separate tracks. Emma, take it away.
Hi, everybody. First off, congratulations, Dr. Love. That's so exciting. And second, I'm sorry that my cute sweater is not going to be more visible during this presentation, but it's okay. Moving forward, I'm going to share my screen. Please let me know if you cannot see it. All right, so saw you guys last month with a few pre-development assessment plans. So I'm back with a couple more this month. We're going to do Leonard Tract and Sunnybrook. First up, here's a quick little diagram about the PDAP process, how we start off with some preliminary research. We also contact the State Historic Preservation Office and the NC Heritage Program. And then we do a series of site visits where we conduct a natural resource inventory and a cultural resource inventory. This is done by myself partnering with Sean Go, who's a land management, and then Douglas Porter, which is a historic resources guy. And so then we develop the document together. We do preliminary nature preserve assessment, do site suitability analysis, and then develop some interim management recommendations. And we break those down into short-term management and long-term management. And as we move through those, we make sure to update the document as we get more information. And the whole PDAP process wraps up at the end once a site moves on to the master planning stage. So the PDAP informs the situation assessment, which is the first step in the master planning process. And here we got the outline of what the document all includes. It's a lot of stuff. I'm not going to list all this stuff off to you guys or show it all to you in the presentation tonight. All of it is in the documents if you want to do a deeper dive. But just to show you that we do kind of a context analysis, a sign analysis, that natural resource inventory and cultural resource inventory that we talked about. We also look at park access, social equity, and a demographics analysis. And then the document wraps up with that suitability analysis and interim management recommendations. So first up tonight, we'll be talking about the Leonard Tract. So the Leonard Tract is located along the northeastern boundary of the Raleigh ETJ. It's at 12028 Falls of Neuse Road, kind of northeast of the I-540 loop, east of US 1, and it's immediately adjacent to the Neuse River. There's many a park property near the Leonard Tract. Majority of them are nature preserves, and the closest one is immediately adjacent, which is the canoe launch at Falls Lake. Here's a site map zoomed in a little bit. The property is 83.6 acres and is divided into 4 non-contiguous parcels. The Neuse River Greenway traverses the Leonard Tract property and connects it to nearby park properties, the canoe launch, Abbott's Creek, Thornton Road, and Horseshoe Farm. Here are some lovely site photos of the Leonard Tract property. It's mostly forested. There are a few fields in the northern large parcel, and there's a creek and a wetland area in the southern portion of the site. The northern portion includes a former homestead site, while the southern section seems to be less impacted by previous development. So a few things to consider with the Leonard Tract is first off is the Falls Park on the Neuse River. The development of a whitewater park there has been in consideration since construction began on Falls Dam in 1978. We completed a feasibility study in 2011, which resulted in a conceptual plan for the proposed whitewater park. And it's going to be 600 feet of the Neuse River. But more information about this can be found in the report. And then the other considerations for the Leonard Tract is there have been a few previous assessments conducted for the site. First up, we've got a phase 1 environmental site assessment, which was done in 2008. We have a phase 2 assessment of the inholding area within the northern parcel of the Leonard Tract, which was done in 2009. And then there was a limited soil sampling following the removal of an underground storage tank also in 2011. Here we've got the Leonard Tract site suitability. So this map delineates the different parts of the site into very limited, limited, and regular development. Very limited are areas that are going to be suitable for low impact. We can do canoe kayak launches, riverbank stabilization, natural surface trails. These areas that are very limited development kind of exclude the steep slopes that are by the river, the floodplain, and the wetlands that are designated on site. Limited development is going to be those poorly drained or partially hydric soils and any areas that overlap with Raleigh sewer. And then the regular development areas are areas that have no significant or special limitations on development and are open to most design choices. So special consideration should be given to the relationship between the disconnected parcels at the site. Falls of Noose Road bisects the two main portions of the park property. And currently the only safe pedestrian crossing between these two areas is via the Greenway Trail underneath the Falls of Noose Bridge. Future planning of the park may also consider disposition of the remnant parcels west of Old Falls of Noose Road, if a suitable use that complements the park cannot be found for these parcels. Another couple of big picture things to remember about this site is it is in our park system plan as an outdoor recreation hub. And it's also a very high priority for master planning. These are the interim management goals. For our short term, we've got coordinated monitoring and mapping, looking more closely at that nature preserve criteria evaluation, doing some invasive species control and addressing unauthorized access that we have on site. And then the long-term goals would be additional ecological monitoring, protecting any significant species, and doing a little bit of ecological restoration. And so I'm going to roll straight through to Sunnybrook. That's what we did last month. Was I just went and did two and then did questions at the end, but please stop me if you'd rather do questions about Leonard Tract now before I keep going. Great. So Sunnybrook Road is located within the Beltline within Council District C. It's located 141 Sunnybrook Road. The property is immediately adjacent to the I-440 loop. There's also many park properties near Sunnybrook Road, but they range more from athletic complexes to neighborhood parks. There's a few river-oriented parks along the Neuse River, and the closest park to Sunnybrook Road is the historic Oakview, which is actually a Wick County park. The Sunnybrook Road property is located between the Crabtree Creek Greenway Trail to the north and the Walnut Creek Greenway Trail to the south. And there's actually two capital area Greenway corridors that run through the Sunnybrook property. One goes north-south and has a planned Greenway Trail that I'll get into a little bit more later in the presentation. And then there's also one that runs east-west through the site. I'd also like to note that there's lots of multifamily development coming into the west of the site. The property is 20.5 acres and is just one parcel. There are entrances to the site from the north off Carl Sandburg Court and from the west off Sungate Boulevard, but there's no currently any parking on site. The landscape at Sunnybrook Road is mostly forested, but it does include a wetland area on the eastern portion of the site. And the creeks on site have lots of sedimentation and evidence of flooding. A couple things to consider when looking at Sunnybrook Road. First up is the site is being considered for development of a paratransit facility in partnership with City of Raleigh Transportation. Development of the paratransit facility would require a majority of the western portion of the site. Current conceptual plans include reserving about 2 to 5 acres of the site for development of a small pocket park, as well as greenway trails and associated parking areas. But that is not solidified in any way. It's still just in consideration. And then the other thing to keep in mind is the Greenway Trail connection project from Sunnybrook Road Park to the Crabtree Creek Trail has been proposed for funding as part of the Neighborhood and Community Connections Program. Design would occur in coordination with the sewer line replacement project, in coordination with Raleigh Water, and it'd be along the western bank of the Crabtree Creek near Holston Lane, and would provide public access and connectivity with the Greenway Trail network from this site. And so here again, we've got a suitability analysis, again, doing very limited within the floodplain and any steep slopes, limited development with any of those poorly drained or hydric soils. And then regular development is open for any design choices we want to make.
Emma, could I ask while you were on that, what's that red rectangle in the middle of the green?
Let me see. I've got the plan open in another window. I think it's actually an area of really steep slopes. If I'm remembering correctly.
Okay.
There's, yeah, we use a layer from Esri's Living Atlas. And they do kind of like a heat map area of where there are really steep slopes on site. And so I think that area showed up as.
Okay, thanks.
Right. And then some big picture stuff though to keep in mind with Sunnybrook. We've got the Greenway connection, the paratransit facility, and then master planning should definitely consider a lot of that development that is coming in nearby. And then our interim management goals, pretty similar to what we've seen with Leonard Tract, continuing to do that coordinated monitoring and mapping, invasive plant species control, continuing to work with that Greenway trail connection with Raleigh water. And then long-term goals would be additional ecological monitoring and protecting some significant species. Great, and then next steps with the PDAPs, we'll be back again, probably in the summer with another round of these guys. We're doing the Highway 50 Beaver Dam. It's going to be a really big site. We get excited for that. We've already made a few site visits out there. One with Wick County because we partially own it with them. And then we got Hodges Mill Road coming up, Old Williams Road, and the South Hall Road property. And that's all I got for you guys. Are there any questions?
I have a question. Can you tell us a little, you mentioned impending development on the west side of the property. Can you give us a sense of how imminent that is? What's the scale of it or anything like that?
I think right now stuff's mostly just coming through as rezonings. I do a lot of the development review for parks. And so I get to see a lot of stuff when it comes through as administrative site plans and site permit reviews. And so nothing's quite to that level yet, but just mostly rezonings right now, but to increase that density.
I have a couple questions. So with the Leonard Tract, I'm curious, it seems like the Whitewater Master Plan, or whatever it was called, feasibility study, I guess, was done before the pre-development assessment plan, which seems out of order. Is that true? Is that just because it was so long ago, things were done differently, or why did that happen that way?
I think there was a large push from the community. I don't know if you remember the last time we were looking at bond stuff, people turn out in the dozens and dozens for that park. So I think that was why the feasibility study was done at that time.
And did they pay for a portion of it? Was that? No, they said that they would pay for a portion of it if it went forward. Perhaps that's what I'm remembering. Okay. No, that's just interesting.
Details.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Chair. We didn't develop this process until I guess 5 or 6 years ago. When we acquired properties, we really we just sat on them. We get a survey, put up some signs. Now with the expertise we have in-house with Emma and our cultural and historic resources, we go out and be a little bit more progressive in what we're looking at with the sites. The concept plan for the Whitewater Park was done like 10 years ago. So it definitely predates it. There was limited public input. So our proposal as we move forward, we would master plan. There is no master plan for Leonard. We would master plan the whole site. So we give everybody a voice and what's desired there. So,
right. Okay. Thanks for that that clarification, Stephen. And then kind of along with that, I was noticing in your sort of next steps bullets for the Leonard Tract, it suggested something about evaluating for a nature preserve. And then for the Sunnybrook Road tract, it's talking, no talk of nature preserve, even though there's a wetland and there's a creek and there's steep slopes. So I was just wondering why.
That's something that Sean does as part of the natural resources inventory is I think there's like a checklist that we've got about what will make something a nature preserve or not. And we kind of do like a very preliminary assessment during the PDAPs of whether we think we should continue with that evaluation or not, just based on how many boxes it checks. And Leonard Tract just checks so many of them that we were like, okay, we've got to look at that potential.
Okay. Is there any concern that there's already a lot of nature preserves in that area of the city and it feels like a redundant sort of park resource?
That is definitely something that I try to include in the PDAPs, that kind of different service area rings and all the different experiences that are provided in that. And we would definitely want to, when we're master planning the site, make sure that it's a balance and fits into the rest of the system.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah,
The
Stephen.
nature reserves is very focused on ecology, and that, so it's not about how many, like, access to them. It's about that ecological value. So you could have like 6 in an area, which means that area is rich with ecological value. So yeah, proximity, the Northeast has it just because of slopes and the Neuse River and the lake. So just there can be a high propensity in certain areas just because of the natural ecology of certain locations in Raleigh.
That makes sense. Yeah. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Okay, great. Thank you, Emma. Thanks for the comprehensive overview. Appreciate it.
Yeah, see you guys next year.
Happy holidays. Next on the agenda, we have an action item that we will be voting on tonight, which is the Lions Park Gym naming request. We heard a presentation with the petition. I believe Mr. Lucas is with us. I see him there. And then last month, there was conversation and discussion about the item. And so this month, we will take a vote on whether we approve this being passed along to City Council for their approval. So we're recommending approval or not. Dr. Love, I see your hand up.
Yeah, is it time for a motion?
Sure. I did want to just briefly say, Mr. Lucas, I am so sorry to hear of your loss and condolences.
Thank you. Thank you to the board and all those that reached out. I greatly appreciate your prayers. It meant a lot. My wife sort of encouraged me to run with this. Matter of fact, I think the first time we were on, I think Dr. Love was on as well. And so, you know, Miss Giovanna, Mr. Omar, Ken, all of you guys, Miss Jones at Lions Park, all of you guys have been truly, truly a blessing. And if I could, I know we have to move on. We would always be tied together. I met my wife at a park. And that park was Pullen Park. So it really means a lot to me that we move forward and be a blessing to the community. You know, those 10 computers there at Lions Park, I think it's going to do wonders for the community. Also, congratulations, Dr. Love, and also the Tours for Teens. That's really awesome. You guys are doing great things, and I'll be quiet. But thank you, everyone, for your support and your prayers. It really, really mean a lot to my son and I, my family. Thank you.
We love you. We'll continue to pray for you.
Love you back, and congratulations.
Thank you. Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to move that we name the gym at Lions Park for Mr. Nate McMillan.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
Was that Kendall?
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Great. All those in favor, please say aye and raise your hand. Show of hands. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any against? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Lucas, for coming.
Hallelujah. Thank you all. And you guys have a Merry Christmas.
You too. Sending
God
love.
bless. Thank you.
Hey, Jennifer, if I may.
Yes, sir.
So if you want to honor Nate a little bit more this coming week, and I'm surprised Mr. Lucas didn't mention this, we are partnering with one of Nate's groups, KCSSU, on Saturday for a toy giveaway out at Lions Park. It's always a big time. It's outgrown the church across the street.
Yeah.
So we're building on the book bag giveaway that we do in the fall.
That's
for
right.
a toy giveaway with KCSSU and some other partners out there on Saturday. It's 9:30 to 3, I think, is the time. And Nate's a big
Yep.
part of the KCSSU project.
That's
Great.
correct.
So will they be looking for donations at that time? Should we bring toys or is it more to help hand them out or just be there in spirit?
If you just want to show up, I'll be happy to reach out to Kevin. He's always looking for help, and Anthony knows who I'm talking about with Kevin Bobbitt.
Yes.
But
Normally
I
they
don't
just
know that they
give away.
need toys, but if you want to go out and see some
Mhm.
cool stuff, that's what they do. So I just thought
Okay.
shameless plug. And it fit right in with what the work that Nate and Anthony are celebrating tonight.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thanks, Ken.
Ken, is at the park, is that Lions Park?
At the community center, yeah.
Okay.
Very good. Next item on the agenda is approval of last meeting's minutes. Did everyone get a chance to look at them? Do I hear any edits or comments or a motion to approve?
Move approval?
I have two edits.
Oh, okay. Yes.
They're minor. One where it talks about Nate McMillan, it says from Raleigh North. So I didn't know if you wanted to either take the north off or add Carolina to that. And
Thank you for pointing that out. I noticed that and I even Googled, is that a name of a neighborhood that I wasn't familiar of in that area? Is it? Scott is nodding.
It's the name of the complex
Yeah.
adjacent to Lions Park.
Okay. Oh, okay. So that was accurate. Great.
Yes. That's right.
Okay, yeah, all right, I didn't know that, so I've learned something new. And the
Yeah, that's
other,
where we grew up at. We grew up at Lions. We grew up at Lions Park too, but Raleigh North.
Okay.
yes, learn something new every week. The other thing, I think in the minutes, it said something about me being inducted to the association, but it's actually the North Carolina Hall of Fame for the Park and Recreation Association. So that's minor, but you heard her give you that spiel. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Dr. Love. I wondered about that one too.
I've been in the association forever.
Very good. With those two edits, would you still like to move for approval of the minutes, Beverly?
Yeah.
It would just be the one change.
That's true. Just the one change. Thank you. Do I hear a second for that? Marcia, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Any against? Okay, the minutes are approved. Thank you. Next we have the director's report. Oscar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. Couple of updates from our previous city council meeting, which was on December the 7th. We had two action items that actually passed through. One of them was the approval of hiring a consultant to help provide us a long-term capital maintenance strategy to kind of help guide the allocation of our penny for parks maintenance. So this study will kind of include just kind of giving us a long-range look at what we need to concentrate on and really allow us to kind of help develop that plan on how to spend that money over the next, several years. So that was approved by council, and Stephen and his team will be kind of coordinating with the consultant on that. Secondly, the bid award for Bailey Wick Park improvements did go through. And as many of you may know, that is kind of like one of the last of the 2014 park bond projects that we have in the hopper. So the bid award was for slightly over $4.9 million, and it will include a open air multi-use pavilion, a dog park, expanded parking area, landscape enhancements, restroom, picnic shelter enhancements, and also some stormwater enhancements. So we're really looking forward to that construction, which will possibly begin in between 45 to 120 days from now. And then lastly, we also had a special item on the report and recommendation of the city manager. So at the November meeting, you all received a presentation about our Youth Conservation Corps program update. So staff provide the same presentation to City Council as well, just to kind of let them know about the great program opportunity for youth that the department hosts each summer. And it was very well received by council. Also, as far as PRGAB appointments and reappointments, I know Lindsay isn't with us this evening, but she was reappointed to the park board for another term. So congratulations to Lindsay for that. And then lastly, I know this is the news you all have been waiting for, but council did make an action to go ahead and resume to in-person meetings for all boards and commissions effective February. So fingers crossed, we will all be meeting in person in February if things keep on rolling ahead in a positive way. So we will be in touch with you to let you know location once we get closer to that date. But other than that, that's all I have for this evening. Hope you all have a great, happy and safe holidays, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Oscar. Great report. That'll be exciting to see everyone face to face. I'll have to put on nicer pants.
Yeah, I know we've been investing in a lot of tops, but not, pants.
That's right. Put on my stretchy pants. Christina, go ahead.
I just had a quick question about resuming to in-person. Will there be a hybrid option for those that may still not feel comfortable due to the Omicron variant?
We will need to discuss that and see if, I know that's going to probably be something that's going to be brought up. So depending on what the situation is, that may be an option, but we will have to kind of work and see how we can make that possible.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Is that something that we should send out a little anonymous poll to members and ask if they would like for those kinds of accommodations, or before staff go, through the hoops to make it so?
We would need to check with the city secretary's office or the city manager's office first to kind of see if that's going to be an available option for boards and commissions. And then once we have that for sure, then we can probably report back to you all.
Okay, sounds good. Very good. Well, Christina, you're up next for Parks Committee.
Okay, great. We had our second meeting back in the first week of December. We're continuing to talk about this series that we are interested in starting, like a Welcome to Raleigh series. We had a really great conversations, and we landed on starting maybe hopefully in April, and partnering with different groups. I was grateful to be able to speak to or ask the Raleigh Youth Council because I forgot about it. So I'm glad they were here. But I've also spoken to BPAC, and BPAC would like to join us and like to be part of our event series and how they can help and things like that. So I think as we move forward, this next meeting at the first week of January, we're going to be able to delve into what we want the actual events to be and how to partner with different organizations. So we're super excited about that. And that's it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Beverly. Yep.
I know that BPAC coordinates with Bike Raleigh in the month of May. And so you said April, but I'm wondering if BPAC's part of it, if you maybe want to make it the very end of April, early May, and kind of piggyback so that we're not stressing out. That's a really small staff. And so just throw that out there for consideration.
Christina, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Thank you. And thank you for that. Yeah, it would actually be a total of 5 events because it would be a series around Raleigh. So we could do that, could be definitely our May possibility. But staff is helping me understand how to organize the dates and make sure everything works out so that things aren't extra taxed and stressed out. But thank you.
Okay, very good. Next item is Fred Fletcher Volunteer Committee, which is Lindsay's. Sally, you were at that meeting, I believe. And there was a meeting last Thursday to sort of kick off the committee. And I don't know if you have any report or comments from that.
I actually don't have all the dates around me right now, but really the main thing is that we've got some really excited committee members and a good plan of action. So the nomination forms will be going out soon, and it's a fairly quick turnaround, but we are planning for an in-person event on the 10th of May.
Yeah, and I think the next committee meeting is February 6th, I believe, in the evening. So if anyone decides that they do want to join, there's probably still a chance to do so. I believe the last meeting was really just an overview of what the Fred Fletcher Committee does and what the awards are. So you're not too far behind. Okay, very good. Thanks, Sally. Greenways Committee, Beverly?
Yes, on January 5th, the consultants will be providing their latest and greatest provision of the master plan, and it is up and available on the city website. So anybody who wants to take a look at it can take a look at it there. But because of that, we did not meet for December, but we will meet in January to be discussing that, and then we'll get a presentation as a board in January too. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Beverly? Okay. Next committee is Sustainability, Wildlife, and Urban Trees Committee. Marcia?
We canceled our our meeting in November, and we're going to meet again in January.
Great, thank you. Now we have our let's see, committee report for Deveraux Meadow Park. Has there been any meeting on that?
There actually was a stakeholder meeting that I was not able to attend. So I have the video from it and I haven't watched it yet.
Okay.
But I will have a better update next month. Sorry about that.
That's fine. Great, thank you. Carol, Arts Commission Liaison report.
Yes, after a lot of action all over the place, the Arts Commission has very little to report because, for one thing, there was no December meeting, and so they are going to have another meeting in January. Is it the 18th? Yes, it's the 18th, and there's a report that there are 2 new commissioners. Unfortunately, they are not named in this announcement. So I cannot share their names with you, even if, in case you know some of them or one of them. So I will be giving an update in January.
Very good. Thank you. Next we have BPAC. Christina, did they have a meeting?
We actually have our meeting next week on Monday. But I'm now on a panelist level, whereas before I kind of had to sit in the meetings and as a member, and so I wasn't able to participate very well, but they changed that. And so starting this week, I'll be on the panel and I'll be able to participate better than I have been. So
great. Yeah, that's fantastic. Moving up to the table. Way to go. Cool. All right, sounds good. Let's see, Raleigh Historic Cemeteries Commission. Sally, any report?
No report tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, Dick's Leadership Committee. I have a brief report for that. The meeting was November 23rd, and the next meeting is tentatively December 28th. Did I say November 23rd? Yes, was our meeting. And the next one is December 28th. Might be postponed if enough people are not able to make that. Steven says it's good. Okay. I will not be there, sadly. I'll be driving to New Jersey at that time. The Dick's Lights has been a big hit. I hope everyone has gotten a chance to get out there to enjoy the lights. The big news that I think was in Oscar's report is that the City Council did vote to go ahead and put $12 million toward funding Plaza and Play outside of the bond. So that's already something that's going toward that. The goal is for July 2024 to open the Plaza and Play. Construction should start next summer. The state budget was approved for the Department of Health and Human Services to relocate to Blue Ridge Road. It's either $50 or $60 million. So they're feeling pretty good about that they'll be moving off the Dick's campus. They had a $150,000 cultural landscape grant for Dick's. There was discussion about upgrades needed for Lake Wheeler Road. That's been a big discussion point. And there's about 1 million square feet of development across the road from the park across Lake Wheeler Road that was just sold. It was just in the paper, I think yesterday, to Brian Kane from another developer. So things are happening, and that road is in need of some improvements. The big presentation at the meeting was by the Development Finance Initiative at UNC Chapel Hill. They shared information about what they're going to be doing in their upcoming work, which is essentially a feasibility study of the master plan for Dick's Park. They'll be working with selected architects to determine sort of what can be done there, what are the best uses of the space. And the previous, if you remember, there was an RFQ where people could say if they wanted their organizations to be there on the campus. So that will inform this study. Some of the groups that said that they would like to be on Dick's campus, so they'll be reviewing some of that as well. That will go into that study. And then just recently, the other very big news was that there was a big $10 million donation from the Gibson family for Plaza Play, and it will now be named in honor of Tom and Pat Gibson. So I'm sure that you all saw that information in the news. That is my report. Any questions or comments on any of that? Okay, very good. Next is Historic Resources and Museums Advisory Board. Their last meeting, they moved a little bit early, so it was November 17th because of Thanksgiving, and they're not having a December meeting. So I'll just touch on a couple things because I wasn't at our last meeting that maybe weren't said. They had a very busy fall program. Most tickets were sold out for most of the events that were held, like Dark Raleigh and others. And let's see, they have a few new members. They're looking to do an orientation, and they will ride the trolley around. They have done this before, and we've done that before. So it's something we might want to think about as a board as well. So in February, they're looking to do their orientation trolley tour. And their community engagement committee that awards volunteers awards, they have not done so in the past couple of years because of COVID. And they are looking to film it and put that on the Raleigh television network. And so they're looking to be doing that in the next, I think, couple months. So those are some of the highlights. Any questions about any of that? Okay, we are just flying through this agenda tonight. Next is the chair report. So I get to keep talking. I don't really have anything else to say. Happy holidays, everybody. It's really nice to see you. I can't wait to see you in person instead of these teeny tiny little Brady Bunch screens. So it'll be nice to remember what we all look like and sound like, not over a computer. But I hope that everyone's able to take a little rest and enjoy the season. And that's all I have. Does anyone have anything? Go around the table. Beverly, go ahead.
The other day, some link that I get through whatever email had a link to Play It Forward.
Yep.
On the city's website. And Jen, I did CC you, but I did not CC most other people on the board. But I sent it to about 40 friends and just said, in a time when we want to give kids experiences rather than stuff, this is a great way to help the city and to help kids to access all the programs that we have. And I had at least 8 people either call or email me and say, I'm making my donation right now. I think that's great. So I think more that if you all just send out the link to it and ask friends to do it, I mean, whether they give 25 or whatever, it's making a big difference for the number of kids that can access the programs. And so I just thought I would share that idea of
Well done. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, good for you, Beverly. Well done. Yeah.
So
thank you.
And
yeah, go ahead.
I spoke to a few, I think, Janet and Oscar through email at the beginning of the month about this. But I had a resident reach out to me and say, at City Council, they talked about the board approving the possibility for people to make donations, large donations, and they felt like it was pay to play. They were really concerned that we let that through, and now it seems they were concerned that the possibility of people just giving money to just have things named and not go through that process that we just went through, for Lions Park. And I didn't know how to answer it, and so I got some great information from you guys. I did forward that on, but after the Gibson donation came through, they were really, I don't know how to better explain how that's not pay to play. Like these are the terms that they're using, and I need guidance and assistance on how to better clarify that or to better understand that those are not the same thing.
Well, I think I'll respond to that in a couple of ways, but I think pay to play means that you get a slot on the team because your parents, grandparents, or somebody, did something. And the Gibson donation, I happen to know Tom and Pat Gibson very well, and they have a long history of philanthropy, and he created the National Habitat for Humanity Home Builders Blitz. It's now where home builders build houses, and he started that here in Raleigh, and it's all across the country. So that it's tapping into another word for it is public-private partnerships. The city cannot, on its current tax base, do what all the programs that we want to do. And if we don't have community involvement, even at the small scale of Play It Forward, we need every level of involvement to make our community better. And so I don't think if there was a key to the door and nobody else could come in, then that would be pay to play. But otherwise, we need everybody at the table, in my point of view.
Stephen, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, the one thing that I've shared with the Conservancy and staff is that we're using the word exchange. Pat and Tom Gibson gave $10 million to the park. They didn't give to the park in exchange for their naming rights. They gave it because they're philanthropists. So we have to make sure we understand that. The city said, what we understand is you are supporting the park. We would like to honor your recognition for the next 30 years by putting your name on a geographic area. And that's something that I've talked about with Oscar and staff. The word exchange means transaction, and that's not what we're doing. And it's temporary, it's not permanent. Quite honestly, if you look at some of the donor recognition that has occurred across the city, or actually in other locations in Raleigh, it's perpetuity. It's like for the lifetime. So what Raleigh did is said is, we appreciate your donation. We will recognize you for the next 30 years for this. That's the largest donation in Raleigh's history for a private philanthropist. And we're appreciative for it's a park. So I want the board not to think about this as a transaction, but as a donor recognition. And there's a very big difference between the two. And that's the way that Tom and Pat Mr. and Mrs. Gibson have come, very humble people. They have been like flying underneath the radar, that they don't want to see this as a business transaction. They're appreciative to have their family's name on something for a few decades. So.
Great, and I appreciate your responses. I don't think in any way this is the residents' attempt to criticize the people and their worth. I think it speaks to the not understanding, and I think them as a position on the board, I want to help people understand what's going on, and so I want to be able to have those words and have that explanation. Whether or not they agree with it, that's their business. But I don't think in any way it was an attempt to say that they don't deserve it by any means. They were just, as residents, not understanding the process.
Yeah, and I think, Oscar, you might want to explain some of this too. We had a recent discussion about this, as far as the department still has the ability, the department and the city council, to determine who and what and if there is that recognition that gets applied. So it's not just a simple, I guess, back to Stephen's point, it's not a transaction of, if you give $500, you get a bench. If you give $1,000, you get this. Rather, there's a discussion about, if it makes sense, if it is worthy of it, so to avoid also some concerns that I've heard about, if Coca-Cola gives $5 million, are we going to name our park after Coca-Cola? And is that what we want our park to be called? So, back to, it has to meet with the park's goals and morals and ethics.
Sure, yeah, there's a lot of criteria that's based on both either the monetary naming and as well as the honorarium naming. So we, at least the staff, have an opportunity to review any of these that come forward. And we want to make sure that as they proceed through the steps, that there's not going to be anything that's going to cause either a major controversy or take away from a particular name of the park. I know when Jennifer and I had a talk, she said, well, what if Coca-Cola comes in and says they want to rename Method Road Park for some reason, and they want to give $50 million? Well, that ain't going to happen. That's a lot of money, but there's a lot of history at Method, and that's not going to be a facility that we're going to name. However, if there's a particular annual event at Method, maybe like Method Road Days or Method Road Celebration that Coca-Cola wants to sponsor, then there's an opportunity there. But but we have the opportunity to at least look at these as they come in, vet them, and see which ones we want to entertain further through either the board, if it's a regular park naming, or through council if it's a monetary naming. So we just want to make sure that whatever comes forward is going to benefit the community as a whole and make us a better system.
Thank you.
Thanks for that explanation. Anyone else have any comments or questions? Carol, go ahead.
Yes, I have a question, on a much more pragmatic day-to-day street level issue. I understand that the city contracts, I'm guessing that the city contracts with certain printers to print our leisure ledgers and other items that we distribute as a city. And these contracts cannot be broken without a lot of legal hassle. And so, but on the ground, I'm hearing a lot from my fellow users of the park system and fitness activities in particular, that the publications come out and they contradict completely what's actually happening at the centers. And I'm wondering if maybe I know you have to pay the printer, but could you not, maybe we can not distribute the leisure ledgers until they're correct, or I have no idea how to solve this very pragmatic problem, but anything that anybody can suggest about this, because I personally have missed some classes because it was published to be at a certain time and it was actually at another time on another day. And so I missed several classes before. I kept thinking I was getting there late or I misunderstood something. I thought it was my error, but no, it really was in the leisure ledger. And other people were also missing the class for the same reason. So I can go with the flow because I just take it in stride, but a lot of people do not take it in stride. And it's hard on the staff because they get the brunt of the dissatisfaction of the users. So,
Carol, are there like
anything we can do about
specific, I
this?
was gonna say, are there specific ones? Because maybe these are
Yes,
just
I
gonna
can give
be-
you a list of specific cases, if that would help.
Okay. All right, Ken, I think you have your hand raised. Ken maybe
Yeah, I
would,
was gonna, kind of going on along that line. Carol, I'll be happy to engage with you and if it's a specific site or on that list, not making excuses. We build our leisure ledger about 6 months in advance of when the program's actually, and a lot of that is driven by print schedule. And we try, it was interesting as I was just looking at a couple emails while the meeting was going on, working through those deadlines. Once we get it to a draft form, our staff review it again to make sure accuracy. Do we have instructors? Do we have things like that? COVID's exacerbated the issue where we'll have an instructor, like we heard about Omicron tonight. The instructor we contact today is like, yeah, I'm on board to do a spring class. Spring comes and the instructor will turn around and say, I'm not on board to do the class. And it creates a lot of strife, both with the patron and with our staff. But with specific issues, if we're seeing a recurring pattern, then that's my job, is to connect back with my team and find out where we have some issues. So I'll go ahead and I'll reach out to you offline and we can talk about some of those.
Sounds good. I've been a publications manager and I really understand what you're saying and how difficult it is. But
thanks
I
for bringing
think
it up, Carol.
with your brains, we can figure it out.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. Dave, I saw your hand was up.
Yeah, I've been shooting some messages to Stephen about the penny for parks and that assessment out there. And just wanted to make a request as I've been going through their project approach, that the Parks Board gets somehow involved, and particularly around the prioritization and criteria development, and just make the request that we get the opportunity to participate in the development of that prioritization criteria. I don't know what that would look like, but if there's an opportunity for maybe a subcommittee or a standing member on whatever groups they start pulling together as that scope gets.
Sounds like a good thing for
up.
Parks Committee to look at, maybe.
we can definitely have a conversation, see how we can have some board involvement as we get recommendations from the consultants.
Yeah, what I'm hoping for is earlier involvement than here's the criteria we have developed and these are the results, and get in before that report comes to the board, which I'm guessing you would have done anyway.
Okay, all right. I can get with Stephen and see what we can come up with. Yeah, and then also since that's a a new item, we would probably have to see about a possible work plan. Being a work plan item, so.
Okay. Good point. Thanks, Dave. Mhm.
Thanks. Merry Christmas. That's it.
Else? Anyone else have any comments or questions or anything? No. Okay. Well, hearing none and having completed our agenda, we can. Oh,
Well, we
Giovanna
need
has
to
a
find out
comment.
about the
Hold
ugly
on.
sweater.
That's right. That's right. So we have to come up with the first and second place winner.
Well, my sweater says love.
That's
always a winner there.
And Beverly is looking outstanding. I'm not sure exactly what's on your head, but I like it. My hat got too hot.
We actually need to know who's in the competition, because not everybody has a ugly sweater.
Marcia has on something very shiny.
Yeah.
And Christina has on a very lovely.
And Christina.
Oh, look at Christina. That's so cute.
It's got presents on it.
Giovanna, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to write in the chat room or something?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Sure. Let me know your thoughts. Who are your thoughts?
Okay.
And I'll tally them up.
Oh. Let's see. Oops.
So we have Beverly, Christina, Marcia, Dr. Love. Anyone else?
Oh, I like your comment, Marsh. Yeah, the Grinch's reindeer, Scott Payne, Max.
I guess if you all knew that the first prize was a trip for two to Hawaii, y'all would have kind of been a little bit more.
Would have upped our game, huh?
Yes, yes.
We don't know what the prize is. Yeah.
Sure don't.
Well, I went to Ross's looking for an ugly sweater and they didn't have any. They were all sold out. But I found lots of other goodies. So
I tell you what, mine is vintage. I think I got it from Ivy's and I have hardly ever worn it. Now, how long has Ivy's been not in Raleigh?
Wow.
A long time. I don't like sparkles like this, but I have it. It's the only thing to pull out to make Giovanna happy. I'm a good sport.
I'm like you. I don't like too much sparkle. So the sweater said love and it had a couple of bulbs on it, but it didn't have batteries, so that worked for me. See?
Love it.
And at the women's gathering, they were touching my sweater because it kind of looked like lamb's wool and it's very soft.
Whoa.
Oh, wow. See, that's why we need to be in person. We can't appreciate that.
All right. So my winners are Christina and Beverly.
All right.
Yay. Beverly's showing us off her fancy schmancy earrings, I think.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
You're muted.
You're muted.
You're muted, Beverly.
I said they're actually Christmas ornaments I stuck over my ears. To make Giovanna happy.
Nice.
So look for something from me in the mail.
Make sure your passports are are up to date.
You know what? We all know Raleigh Parks is not sending us any place unless it's out to Umstead.
And you shouldn't, honestly.
I posted in case it matters, so.
Trying. Well, thanks all. I declare this meeting adjourned.
A record.
You can stay
Thank
on
you.
and chit chat.
Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, great. Happy
Thank
holidays.
you.
everyone.
Happy holidays.
Happy
Stay
holidays.
safe.
Christmas.
holidays.
Bye.
Bye.
Be safe. Bye.